in conversation with Maja Daruwala about her father, Field Marshal Manekshaw. Now, he was a brave soldier. Of course, he was decorated with a military cross, and he participated, planned, supervised, monitored number of operations after India gained independence. But is there anything that he was afraid of?
He was afraid of frogs.
Okay.
If he saw a frog in the room, he was out of there.
Okay.
And he would shout for the orderlies, "Get rid of this thing."
Okay.
But he wasn't, I mean, that was a joke in our family. But he was not particularly terrified of or afraid of anything. Not really. But this, because he was afraid of it, the three women in the house used to tease him a lot.
Yeah, I was under the impression that you would say that he was also afraid of your mother.
No, but he pretended to be.
Okay.
He would do this great act of being afraid of my mother. But it was always that if you said anything, "Can we do this or can we do that?" he would say, "Ask your mother." And then if he disapproved of something, he would say, "Your mother won't like it."
Okay.
So it was more of a joke, a tease.
More of a joke, yes, humor. And my next question is that sort of what quality in your personality or in shaping your life you feel that the credit should go to him, because he sort of inculcated that trait?
You know, it's not so much the inculcation. That sounds like, you know, he pressed for something. Or it was the general atmosphere in the house was that of an even-handed house. There was no shouting, screaming, there was no violence, there was no extreme behavior, but the pleasance of living was something that we all benefited from. But there was always the undertow of you must be well behaved, not in manner, but in quality. So that imbued in us a sense of justice, a sense of lawfulness, not going out of, not doing anything that one would consider to be unvirtuous or illegal. That makes me sound much more sanctimonious than I really mean to be. But that is how the general atmosphere of the house was.
Yes.
Anything that you did that hurt somebody, like for instance, we had lots of orderlies and we had lots of people in the house to help, and you could never be rude to them or you could never order them about. Sam would say, "Don't ask somebody to do something. This is a soldier. He's not supposed to do things for you." And if it was one of our private persons like the cook or something like that, it was always with great respect, always talking up. And also we mingled a lot as a small child with the people, the staff that worked for us. We were always in their quarters, we were always eating dal, sabji, paratha with them. When my mother and father would go out, I would be with them for the evening meal, and we would sit around in a circle and they would be telling stories of the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, and we were always sitting in somebody's godi and listening to it. So there was, and also I spoke Gurkhali and Punjabi and Hindi. So for those reasons, we were, the separation that you see in terms of status was certainly there, but it was not emphasized.
Right,
so
right.
Equality became, and the treatment of people for their dignity was something that was inculcated without your knowing it.
Now you mentioned about intermingling You also mentioned about his being a popular public speaker, being good at it, his making efforts to sort of prepare for his speech or an important address, the sense of humor. But how is it that he never got down to writing his memoirs or something?
I really don't know that. I used to ask him that Father, why don't you write? There must be so much. I mean, the fact that you've been through a world war, the people you met, then the whole switch from being in a very British army to becoming a very Indian army, very national, with all of the cultural change of that time. Why don't you write about it? But he said, oh, it's all past. Somebody will write about it, not me.
And that brings me to the next topic, that he attained the highest rank, headed Indian Army. He toured a lot, happened to meet a number of his counterparts from other militaries. What do you remember, or what's your sense that how did he sort of compare Indian Army, say, with the Americans or the British or Russian? What was your impression? He may not have exactly spoken like that, but from the conversation, if you formed an impression.
Yeah, I don't think that he even bothered to compare. I think he just knew the Indian Army to be a first-class army. He felt it to be a first-class army. He
was confident about it.
He was totally confident about it. He didn't really have to compare anybody. The British had their own traditions. The Americans were spread all over the world, sometimes being defeated, etc. They had technology and things that perhaps he would like to have seen collaborations with. I don't know enough about the detail of it, but I know that he never felt that the Indian Army was one jot less or in any way anything but equal, if not superior, to all of these.
Okay. Having said that, what do you think, or what do you recollect were his military heroes? You can't, no name comes to your mind, whether it's Montgomery or Napoleon or...
Montgomery, yes.
Yes.
Yes, Montgomery, yes.
He mentioned about Montgomery or Rommel or something.
Well, he would talk
Slim,
about
because
it.
he was in Burma campaign and Slim was there heading the British Army. But
I don't think he had any great admiration for the strategy in Burma.
Okay.
Because he was the one who got hurt.
Yes.
So I think the cost of that Burma campaign must have rankled with him.
But you did mention Montgomery.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Be with us. This conversation will continue.